Today we are talking about the new book released, Tonight I Burn by Katharine J. Adams. Thank you so much to NetGalley and Orbit Books for getting the art copy to be able to review for you guys. This is the start of a new fantasy trilogy set medieval dystopian, very interesting world system. I'm Morgan. If this is your first video here, I hope you enjoy it and we'll go check out some of my other ones. This one is going to be mostly spoiler free. I'm going to have like one little spoiler section, but timestamps to where you can avoid that if you want to. Now, let's start talking about the characters of this book. In this story, we are following Penelope Albright, as it is a single POV book, though we will call her Penny for the rest of this, as she does not like to be called Penelope. She is the granddaughter of the Thorn Witch Queen. She is the youngest, though, so she doesn't actually have to worry about the responsibilities of being heir. What does worry Penny, though, is her birthday. Her 21st birthday is the next day, right after the book starts. And this is a very special day for Thorn Witches, as it's the first time that they can burn, which we will cover later. Something interesting to Penny's character is that even though she's almost 21, she still has this air of innocence about her, which really did solidify this book as feeling very new adult to me. It could almost make it YA, but more of the themes of the book would push it into the adult range. But her innocence level and just almost the way she was sheltered without being sheltered, because she has witnessed horrific things in her short life, made it seem like that. Like she still loves reading fairy tales. She doesn't know the workings of most of the world. She's just seen the horrors of what her coven has suffered. And she's seen how her sisters, once they went through the burnings, how they changed and lost parts of themselves. But Penny, having not gone through that yet, she still has this air of innocence and hope. For a big chunk at the beginning of the book, I won't say half, most of what Penny's worry is about her birthday, about her burning, about how she's not good enough for her grandmother. She never seems to do anything right. But at the same time, she does have this very stubborn streak of, okay, I understand that, but I'm still going to push your button if I feel like this is the right thing to do. I'm not going to just sit back and not do something if I can do something. And I mean, sometimes like she considers it brave, sometimes other people consider her brave or dumb. It's a toss-up, depending on how you want to look at it. The plot of the book starts out with the night before Penny's 21st birthday. Her sister Ella burns as for her patrol of the Vale. In the morning, she hasn't returned though, and everyone wants to write it off as she might be lost or she might find her way back on her own. Penny cannot accept this, and she burns in secret to go save her sister. But what she finds on the other side of Death's Veil is completely different than what they've been told, and it tests all the truths that they know. What this sets in motion, though, will possibly save all the covens from the horrible fate that they've been living in. Short and simple plot, yes, but the bigger thing about this book is going to be the magic system, as we are following 5 separate covens with each having a different affinity. I'm so sorry for the ice maker. The magic, though, that's going to be the most fleshed out is the Thorn Witch variety, since that is what our main character is. Now, Thorn Witches have a very intricate connection with death, and they can patrol the veil between life and death, thus the burning. They say a special incantation, they burn, and they cross over into death. And in the morning, with the dawn, they say another incantation, and they cross the veil back, and they're back in their beds. Well, or whichever place they think of in their head. Presumably they should, shoot for their beds, but it does take a lot of physical strain out of them. Also, probably because of this connection with death, this part is not fully explained though, is they have this ability to heal. This is one of the things that makes them so important to the warden, is because they can heal these non-magical injuries. Thus, he needs them to keep healing him, even though his injury is magical, so they're not able to fully heal him. Okay, not going to fully say it, but Penny's magic, while having Thorn Witch magic, yes, is a little bit different. She has something special. Moving on though, the Ember Witches, they can control fire, and I do believe heat. Then we have the Tide Witches, which control water. Very, very on the nose with that one. Storm Witches, though, control the weather. So a little different. They have a little difference there. Ore Witches, they control the metals, and I think maybe gemstones too, but mostly the metals, which they can create these beautiful creations or really, really horrible things. This metal imbued with magic that's for a very, very specific purpose, and it's horrible in the book. But they are all unfortunately controlled by the warden at this point in time. The prologue of the book also starts off with a tale of the first of the witch queens, in which it kind of gives you the history of how the covens were formed. What's interesting is how it's fairy tale almost like this, or oral history stories passed down. There are going to be snippets in all the chapters, and some of them don't seem to directly correlate with how this story was told, like of how one of them is saying the dark mother, the goddess or whatever, passed on magic after a certain point, but yet then there was this, and it says the gods, it says people didn't used to die. They kind of connect, but I don't know, maybe it's just the way I read it is why I didn't think that they connected fully, like that there was something that contradicted just a little bit. But I did love that we got snippets of these stories, and it also told you like what book it was from, where it came from, like it looked like an official reference. And it showed you too, like this was changed by the warden or approved by the warden. As he is trying to change history, he's trying to rewrite like magicalness. He's trying to take magic away from the world too, while just keeping it there in his compound. We know that there is another continent on this world, but they don't have magic. It was just here. And without the witches being out in the world is dying. Like it is desert. We will just continue on into the world building, though most of this book does take place in the compound of Halstead. There is another city outside of it where mortal, normal humans live, and we know this other continent exists. But Penny remembers because they were brought to this compound only a decade or so ago, so she remembers the beautifulness of her home village before, the cherry blossoms, the rivers. She remembers everything, but now everything outside of this compound is desert. And it is brought up in the book of where does our food come from? Because she doesn't believe it's always transported in from a continent away. I don't think so either. That doesn't make sense logistically to have enough to feed everybody all the time. But that is pretty much all the world building we got for this book. Most unfortunately. The bits of history, lore sprinkled throughout the chapters, which was mostly magicaliness, you know. The writing style of this book is also something that everybody seems to be complimenting. They're so beautiful, and it's quite descriptive, which did make the book kind of be long, but it is very beautiful in its descriptions and very vivid of stuffs. So if you like descriptive, beautiful writing, then you will probably enjoy this. If it is not your style, you will feel that this takes forever to get through, to get to a point. The only bit of romance I can say outside of the spoiler section, or maybe I could say it, but I'm not. But it's not going to be a spicy book. Don't go into this thinking it's an adult and it's got romance, so it's going to be spicy. It is not. It is not. Now, we're going to jump into the spoilers, so if you don't want to see spoilers, jump forward in timestamps to the rating and the overall thoughts of the book. Our spoiler section romance, besides the fact that it is not a spicy book, it does have a throuple, or polyamory, maybe that's the better word for it, because two of them are not involved with each other, they're just both involved with Penny. It's not exactly insta-love. It's not. I feel like it was very close to that, though, because she met Milan, and they had this snarky relationship and combativeness, but you could totally tell he was falling for her first, and there was instant attraction, which that's fine. Instant attraction is fine. Even acting on it is fine, but then being like, I love you, I can't live without you, I'll do anything, I'll die for you. Dude, there was not enough interactions for that. There was not enough interactions between the two to all of a sudden jump to that. We could have stuck with I'm attracted to you, I feel drawn to you even, because it was almost like being chemically drawn to, I don't know how to describe that, but the other one, while still being very, very quick to happen, hardly any interactions, I can get from Alice's point of view. Penny, though, Penny jumped into it very, very quickly with both of them and like loved both of them, wanted it to work with both of them, which, you know, I get that too, I suppose, but I get it more from Alice's, where she jumped into this attachment because Alice can see the future. Alice can see the future. She saw Penny coming. True, she can't see some aspects of Penny in her weavings because Penny's decisions, and she can't quite see her, but she knew this was going to happen, that somebody important was, you know, coming. So I get Alice a bit more than Milan. Overall, this was a good first entry into a series, and when I ran it through the spreadsheet, it did come out still being a 4 star, so that's pretty good. I'm hoping with the next book, though, that it will build on the story in a better fashion to where we're not losing out on something. And if the romance is going to continue in this manner, it'll find a bit better of balance than what we saw in this book. For it being a new adult, which I definitely would classify this as one of those new adult range, I think it's a pretty solid thing, as especially if you were moving from the YA into adult, this is a good step for you to take. It's nice writing, it's a good entry point into a character still somewhat what you're used to while getting a bigger amount of magic and world. Tonight I Burn is on sale now. Thank you again to NetGalley and Orbit Books for this review copy. And if you would like to find more new releases, you can check out this video. Every Monday we take a look at the new releases, so if you subscribe, you will find tons of new books to add to your TBR. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having an awesome day and finding something great to read. Bye y'all.